got this feeling like it's starting now, starting now. I feel adventurous with you, and there is nothing that can hold us back, hold us back. We can do what we wanna do, 'cause we got all the time in the world. For better or worse, we should stay together. So let's stay young and in love. We should focus on us forever. Yeah, baby, if you are feeling like I do, we could run away across the ocean. Baby, what you say? We can leave today. Anywhere we'll go, we'll be alright. It's all about you. It's all about you. It's all about you. It's all about you.
Let's just point out the obvious. My house is a complete disaster. I spent 5 days prepping for this party, and now I'm going to spend the next 5 days cleaning it up. If you have been here before, then welcome back to my channel. This is a continuation from last week, and if this is your very first time here, welcome. I am so glad that you clicked on this video to get some major inspiration and motivation from a complete disaster home. If you haven't seen last week's video, then I'll link it down below and I'll encourage you to check it out. Basically, it was my daughter's second birthday. We had a Moana themed party and they had an absolute blast and a great time. And it took me about 5 days to party prep and get everything completely finished, and now we are cleaning up after. We had people over pretty much all day and into the night, so this was over the course of a full day where the mess was made. So not only is this a complete disaster cleanup, but it is a complete disaster whole house clean, including the outside. Cleaning up everything in one day is just not realistic for me, so I'm going to take you along my journey. It takes me about 5 days to get the entire house cleaned up. Some days I do a lot more than others, but my goal is to do a little bit each day. But my name is Michelle, and I have 2 small girls, Sailor, who is 3.5, and Savannah, who just turned 2. And my goal is to remind you that it doesn't matter how big, small, beautiful, nice, or messy your house may get. It's to remind you that we all deal with similar struggles. And at the end of the day, it's not about how perfect of a job you did or who got more done. It's about normalizing what real life is and encouraging you that it's okay to take it one step or day at a time. I want to motivate you, but also know that it's okay to have a little fun, and sometimes the mess just comes along with it. As I get started here in the kitchen, I really hope that you will subscribe to my channel if you enjoy this kind of content and motivation.
But it felt like the end of myself. I was shut down and I drained out.
One thing I have to do while starting a big cleanup is keep the girls distracted, and they got into the kinetic sand, and I know that this will turn into a disaster later on, but for now my goal is to get the whole kitchen cleaned up, and then I will just worry about that later. Maybe you can relate, but sometimes as a mom of really small kids, it's just about jumping from one mess to the next, and nothing is ever 100% cleaned at one time, especially while the family is still at home.
This is who I am. This is who I am now. Bring it down. And I'll drain down. And I'll drain down. And I'll drain down. And I'll drain down. They think that I have lost my mind, that I'm not being true.
So the kinetic sand has already moved its way from the white table to the living room rug, and I told them they were not supposed to play with it on the living room rug, but that is just something that I will have to worry about a little bit later. So I am not a big fan of kinetic sand because of the mess, but you guys let me know, what is one thing that your child has made a mess of while you were trying to clean up something else? For me, along with the kinetic sand disaster in last week's video, whenever we were working on redoing our master bedroom, Sailor had some chocolate milk and she spilt it all over the rug. So I did clean that up in last week's video. But you guys leave me a comment below and let me know, because I really like to share y'all's funny stories in my videos. Typically, whenever we host a party, which hosting a party and doing all of this is one of my favorite things to do, it does become stressful, but I just enjoy doing it. That's why I go all out. I like doing party planning. I'm not a pro or anything. It's just kind of a hobby that I like doing. So that's why it's kind of extreme for a 2-year-old birthday party. But one really fun thing is to make these little watermelon boats. Because we had a Moana themed, we just carved out the watermelon, and then you just cut up fruit and fill it with it, and it becomes a super cute, inexpensive idea for any type of party.
You know that I'ma keep it cool. With you I feel like breaking rules. On the edge, looking out with no parachute. You know I'm dreaming about us two, playing around without a clue. On the edge, leaning out. With us it's all or nothing. Ooh, but guess I need more of you.
So after I picked up most of the dishes in the kitchen, it was really bothering me, and I just wanted to get all of the sand out of the living room. So I just start picking it up and putting it away so they can't play with it anymore before I move on to finishing up the kitchen.
With us it's all or nothing, but guess I need more of you. You say you're doing right, but in the morning you just leave. Had to convince my friends this time. Think you're toxic to my mind, but I know they don't know what you're all about. The way you hold my body tight, staying up talking through the night. Yeah, I know they just don't. With us it's all or nothing. Ooh, but guess I need more of you. With us it's all or nothing, but guess I need.
So I have a question to ask you guys. We typically recycle all of our extra plastic containers, because once I did a Tupperware clean out, I decided that I'm not keeping like extra containers that we're not going to use. And before, whenever I would recycle, I would not clean out the containers before I put it in the recycle. And then someone told me that you have to clean out the containers, that way they're able to recycle it better. So I was wondering, what do you guys do? Do you, whenever you have something that's recyclable, do you just throw it away, or do you be sure to clean it out and make sure that it's clean before you put it in the recycle bin? Leave me a comment below and let me know what all of y'all do.
Why don't you stay? Why don't we talk about this? With us it's all or nothing. Ooh, but guess I need more of you. With us it's all or nothing, but guess I need more of you. You say you're doing right, but in the morning you just leave. With us it's all or nothing. it's all or nothing.
I can taste your words. I can taste your I can taste your words. I can taste your I can taste your words. I can taste.
So in last week's video, I asked you guys a series of questions about me, and I said that whoever got them all 5 questions correct would win like a Venmo $25. And up to this point, no one has guessed all 5 correct answers. There were so many of y'all that were so close, only off by 1. And the thing is that some of the questions I've answered or have mentioned before in an Instagram, and then some of them in YouTube. So that's why you may not know 100% all of them, but I'll go ahead and give you guys the answer. So the first question was, how old am I? I gave you guys 3 options, which were 29, 31, and 33. And the correct answer is 33. I mentioned that in a video before, but it has been a little while. The next question was, what am I most scared of? And I gave you guys 3 options, which were sharks, alligators, and bears. And most of you guys actually guessed alligators, but the correct answer is sharks. And I mentioned that in one of my Instagram stories because I was watching Shark Week. If you're not familiar with Shark Week, it is on the Discovery Channel in the US. And I was just talking about how intrigued I am with shark attacks, even though that's kind of strange, interesting, and really scary. So I am, and I gave you a story about one time on our honeymoon, we were paddleboarding in St. Croix, and I kept looking down and seeing all of these shadows. And I told the instructor, I was like, there are sharks in the water and I need to go back. And I was almost having a panic attack, and he kept looking down, and it was like, no, that's the shadow to your paddleboard. And I would have to go back and double check because he did tell us that sometimes hammerhead sharks are in the area. So I was just freaked out the whole time. And ever since then, and constantly watching Shark Week, I have been scared of sharks. Next question was, what is one place that I traveled to every year? And I gave you guys 3 choices. I said a beach in Mexico, Disneyland in California, or Disney World in Florida. And the correct answer is we go to Disney World in Florida every year. I absolutely love the blue beaches in Mexico, but it has been a little while since I've been there, and I have never been to Disneyland in California. We just went to Disney World in April, and I did a video right after talking about how we love Disney World and we go all the time. And almost one of my very first videos was a Disney vlog. So, yep, Disney World is one of my favorite places to go every year. The 4th question was, what is my favorite holiday? And I gave you 3 choices, which was Thanksgiving, Halloween, and Christmas. And the correct answer is Christmas. I go way all out decorating, like very intense decorating. I enjoy decorating for Christmas. I think just having the Christmas trees looks so beautiful. In our house last year, we had a total of 8 Christmas trees of all different sizes, all decorated, and it's just one of my absolute favorite holidays. And the last question was, what is my favorite type of food? I think I said either Italian, Thai, or Mexican. And that one was probably tricky because I actually don't think I've ever mentioned it before. But the correct answer is Mexican food. I will never turn down a good margarita and some chips and queso. But at the time that I am doing this recording, because no one got it, like I said, most of you guys were off by just 1. Then what I'm going to do is just leave me a comment below. Let me know your favorite vacation spot or your favorite place to go. And I will just pick a random winner and send you a message and send you $25 Venmo. But thank you guys for all playing along. I have moved on to picking up the rest of the kinetic sand that made a mess all over the living room, and I am going to just kind of quickly vacuum up all of the floors in the living room. I'm just using the Dyson. If you have been here before, you'll know that I also have the Tyneco, which is a vacuum and mop in one, so it's just called a wet vacuum. I use that pretty often, but if I have a lot of stuff to clean up, like this is pretty heavy duty stuff, then I'll just pull out the Dyson and do a quick vacuum, and then I'll end up mopping another time. I didn't realize it at first, but the girls went into the little nugget, which is that pink couch that I have folded up in the corner, and they start playing in there, and all of a sudden I see the lamp just completely fall over, and I was nervous that I broke it, but obviously it's just going to hit the couch and didn't break. So that kind of scared me there for a moment. It is definitely not uncommon for something to break while I am trying to clean up. So this rug is definitely due for another deep cleaning. As you can see from up close, it is super stained and we always have dog hair all over it. At this point in the morning, I did put a good dent in all of the kitchen cleaning and living room cleaning. So now I'm just going up. This area is right off of the entryway. It leads into the dining room. So we have this little play kitchen in this area, just keeping it downstairs. And I'm just going to try and pick up this area a little bit. The girls are going to come join me and help clean up a little bit. One of my earlier videos, I ordered these bins to put in the kitchen, and I used to think that I needed to have absolutely everything organized, especially if I was going to show it on camera. I thought that it's not motivational, I guess you could say, if it's not almost perfect. So I bought these little bins, and y'all, I organized this kitchen to a T. Like, I put the forks in a little bin, I put the play spoons, the cups, and it just looked amazing. And y'all were like, yeah, that's gonna last you about 5 minutes, and then it's going to become a complete disaster again. You guys were absolutely right, and I realized that it is not that important to keep their kids' toys that organized. Okay, so let me just point this out real quick. So this is the guest bathroom that leads right into the garage, and we had a bunch of drinks and juices in the garage. And again, while I was cleaning up another area of the house, the girls went into the garage and grabbed all these juices and put them into that guest bathroom. So that's why you're probably wondering, why are all of those juices in there? And trust me, I was wondering the exact same thing. So the next evening we are headed out in the backyard, and we are just picking up this area for the birthday party. We have this little blow up water slide, and whenever we have that out, it takes a long time to actually clean up because you have to blow it up, let it dry, and then we will deflate it, and then we might have to blow it back up again so that it's fully dry, and it also just leaves the yard soaking wet. So we typically put all of our blow up pools and everything, we hang them on other furniture like we just did there so that it would all dry out. I'm also picking up all of the toys that were brought into the little playhouse, and I didn't even notice this until I saw it on camera, but our dog decided to help us out. I'm actually using my e-cloth here where you just wet it and it's supposed to kill all the germs. I'm not using any product, and I think that the e-cloth works perfectly here. So this evening we just focused on the backyard a little bit. It didn't take too long, but we were exhausted over the last couple of days, so this is just about all we got done that evening. But I will head back outside a little bit later on. I am now on day 3 of cleaning, and today I have a lot to get done. My goal here is to take down and put away all of the decorations finally, to mop all the floors, and then also to finish picking up a little bit outside. It's always a little bittersweet putting away all of the decorations because it takes so long to put out. I always just leave them out for an extra day or two. I think the longest I've ever kept up, for example, my balloon arc, was a week just because I thought it was so pretty to look at. If you spend a lot of time decorating, or it takes you a lot of time to get a party set up, do you typically wait a few days to pick up all the decorations? Or are you the type of person that doesn't want the clutter, so you pick it up immediately, either that day or shortly that day, the next day? Leave me a comment below and let me know. So it has been a very rainy summer here in Texas, and with all of the rain comes tons of mosquitoes. So when people are in and out, I'm just finding mosquitoes everywhere. And if you are from the humid South, then you know how much of a pain they are. After I took down all of these like tissue type decorations, I thought about keeping them, so I started to pile them up, and then I was just pressing them down because I need to be able to store them. But after I went back and forth and tried to like smush them down, and I tried to open them back up to see if they would look good once they've already been all smushed and then reused, then I decided to just throw them away. They were pretty inexpensive if I ever want to get something else. I got them on Amazon, and I am running out of space to store all of these extra party decorations. The way that we hung this balloon arc up in particular was that we just left an extra balloon tape on the ends, and then we took that balloon tape and then taped it to the actual light. So I know that you can also get string, and then you can string it and pin it or tape it to the wall, but here we ended up taping it to the light. I don't know if that's the best idea, but that's just what's been working for us. So the next thing that I'm going to do is get some scissors, and I'm not actually going to try and pop the balloon. What I do is just make like a little small slit at the very end so that it will let all of the air out, but I'm not necessarily popping them. Whenever you pop them, the balloon pieces just go everywhere and make more of a mess, and it also scares our dog. That's why I'm trying not to pop them.
I'm a ticking time bomb that goes off easily. You always know which buttons you should push, baby. I'm a ticking time bomb that goes off easily, but you're still here with me. We're drawn to each other. We try to break it off, but we return to each other. You're the best bad thing that has happened to me. Yeah, you're the best bad thing that has happened to me. The best bad thing that has happened to me. You're the best bad thing that has happened to me. You're the best, the best bad thing that has happened to me.
This makes the cleanup a lot easier because all of the balloons are still connected to the balloon tape. So all I have to do is pile it up and then it's easier to clean up.
Just like night and day, and that is fine by me. 'Cause I wouldn't wanna change a single thing, baby. You're perfect.
As I was picking up, I noticed that the sky is getting very dark and it is about to rain again. So these floats have been sitting out since the day before and it even starts raining, and I'm trying to get this thing picked up and folded up and put on the patio so that it doesn't get soaking wet again. When it sits on the grass for too long, it starts to kill the grass, but also we need it dry because you cannot fold it up all wet because then it'll start mildewing. But you can see just after a couple of days how all of the water kills the grass, but luckily it comes back pretty fast. And just in the nick of time, I got everything folded and put out of the way before it started to downpour. Moving back inside, and the last thing that I'm going to do this day is mop up all the floors using my Tyneco wet vacuum. I had asked you guys a couple recommendations on whether you like the Cedar Spin Mop or other type of wet vacuum recommendations, and some of you guys said you wanted to try the Bissell Crossweave, which is also a similar vacuum to this. And a couple days ago, I found a YouTube channel here called Vacuum Wars, and what they do is comparison on different types of products. So they'll buy everything and then they'll test it on different types of stains and tell you which one is best for specific purposes. And in one of their videos, they did a direct comparison between this vacuum and the Crossweave. The conclusion that they came out with was that this vacuum, they call it the Tyneco. I've been calling it the Tyneco, so I'm not really sure how it's pronounced. But they said that this one just had better suction. It did a little bit better pickup, and if you have a larger spill, I think they had vacuumed up some SpaghettiOs. It was a lot easier to clean up compared to the Crossweave. Although they were both very similar and did a really good job, they ultimately gave the award to the Tyneco because they said that it was easier to clean and because it could pick up bigger spills, like I mentioned before. So I am glad that I went with this one. And another great thing about this one is that if you have lots of hardwood floors and you're doing like an everyday clean, or I probably do this every few days, just depending on how dirty the floors are, it cuts the time in half if you need to vacuum and mop at the same time. I used to have to always use our cordless vacuum to vacuum first, and then I had a Shark steam mop I would go through and mop over the floors. So because it just took so much time, and the amount of hardwood floors that we have downstairs, it took so much time, so I didn't do it very often. But with this, which I think it is 100% worth the money for the space that I have and the use that we use it for, it just makes it so much easier. But check out the channel Vacuum Wars if you're interested or looking at different types of vacuums and not sure which one to get. But after a couple of days, I finally have the downstairs clean. And now I am moving on to day 4, where my main focus is to declutter the upstairs playroom and also pick up the girls' bedrooms.
You
The playroom, in my opinion, is not that dirty. It has definitely been worse before. So the main thing I'm going to do is try and organize it a little bit better. So whenever the kids end up coming over and picking up, they kind of just throw things in different bins, and they're not in the correct bins, I guess you could say. So all the toys that were downstairs, I ended up bringing upstairs, and now I'm just going to kind of declutter and make sure everything is in the right bin.
Oh, it's something in me that says it's fine. Hoping you wouldn't change me. Got the same old thoughts, be my referee. I will be alright. Never cut it right, but somehow you make me change.
I recently just listened to a really good audiobook that was recommended from my Arbonne team called Atomic Habits by James Cleary. If you struggle with change, either trying to create a new good habit or get rid of an existing bad habit, this book really puts it in perspective to help you adapt to those changes. I wrote down so many notes, but I thought it'd be interesting to share kind of the cliff notes of what I found was really helpful. In his book, he talks about 4 different laws of either creating a good habit or getting rid of a bad habit. And the 4 laws of creating a good habit are to first make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. You can apply these laws for simple habits, like let me make sure that I put my dishes in the dishwasher after I use them, opposed to leaving them in the sink, to something like I want to wake up and make sure that I exercise for 30 minutes a day, every day, or 3 times a week. In order to create a new change, he talks about having to recreate the habits that go around the change. So making a new habit obvious. For example, he talks about habit stacking and writing down what you're going to do. For example, I will blank after I blank. So I will put the dishes in the dishwasher after I'm done rinsing them off. Or he talks about writing down the habit to be more aware. So you could use something like I will behavior at blank time in blank location. So I will work out at 10 a.m. in my garage. This way you have some type of appointment to do this habit, and it makes it less likely to miss. Next is to make it attractive or reframe the associations you have with that habit. You can create a motivation sequence around it and apply something that you enjoy doing right before the habit. So for example, for me, I like to drink one of my Arbonne energy fizzes right before I work out. So once I go and enjoy the drink and enjoy eating and something that I enjoy doing, then right after I'm done, I know that it's time for me to go put on my shoes and work out. The next law is to make it easy. So if your goal is to exercise more or just schedule time to exercise, you don't have to start off being a marathon runner. You can always take baby steps leading up to that. I realize that I apply this rule when I'm cleaning. I always try and start with the easiest thing, the easiest tasks, because that gives me the momentum to then tackle the harder things. An example that he also used was if you are trying to get into a good habit of eating healthier, then meal prep. Make it very easy for you to grab a healthy meal whenever you are trying to do meal prepping and eating healthy, and make it hard if you have a bunch of snacks. Get rid of all those snacks. That makes it a lot harder to grab a snack because they're not available. And the last rule that he mentioned was to make it satisfying. You can join a culture where that desired behavior is the normal behavior. So for example, if you join a workout class, that's what everyone is doing. Or if you like watching cleaning videos, because that is the cue that is going to help you get up and get motivated to clean, then also focus on the reward. So for example, exercising is very satisfying for me because I focus on the reward or the energy that I get after I complete a workout. So make the habit satisfying. So those were the 4 laws of habits that I simplified down as best I could. And I thought that it was very helpful to share, especially if you are looking for change or looking for ways to implement change, although it's very uncomfortable at first, if you can follow some of these 4 laws and create habits around positive change, it can really help you accomplish a new goal that you set for yourself.
You're such a nice guy when you're not just talking about yourself and the way of how you dwell. I get it. Now I'm so tired of hearing all your stories about your rich friends traveling Mercedes. You're such a nice guy.
I was pretty worn out the day before, so the very last thing that I am going to do in this video is I am just quickly vacuuming up the upstairs, and then I am going to shampoo it. The reason why I am going to shampoo it is, one, because it's been a couple months since I've actually shampooed the upstairs, which is one of the only areas besides our downstairs closet where we have carpet, and because our dog peed up here and also used the restroom. So she is typically really good about going outside, but she doesn't like the rain and thunder. So because it had been raining so much recently, I think that she had just went upstairs and did it. So I'm just going to go ahead and shampoo up here. I'm using the Bissell Pet Pro Pet Revolution shampooer, and I also researched this one on that channel Vacuum Wars that I was talking about. And this one won best shampooer. I think he tested like 5 or 6, and he put a humongous stain on a carpet and drove through. He tried so many different shampooers and drove through, and for the price, this one was the best one, he said. And then the second one he said was the Hoover shampooer, which is one of the most affordable shampooers. And I personally have not tried any other brands. Once we got this one, we were very satisfied with the way that it cleaned. So I haven't tested out any other brands, but I was happy to see that he recommended this one out of all of the others.
It's our story, it's our story now, yeah.
You promised me to tell if there's anything haunting you, and you leave me unaware if I might have been hurting you. Ooh, oh. Should I worry that you won't come back, or accept any time as a fact? My heart is telling me I shouldn't worry, you know the truth. Ooh, oh, oh. Yeah, I can never take away our story now.
So now I have finally completed this whole house disaster clean with me. It did take me about 5 days to get it cleaned up, and this is the dirt that pulled out of the shampooer. But thank you guys so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. I hope that you got tons of inspiration and motivation out of this video. And if you did enjoy this video, make sure that you click that like button and you're subscribed so you don't miss out on next week.